Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
Today on CityCast Houston, we usually talk food on Wednesdays, but because of the historic snowstorm, we're going to do it today. We're welcoming back Cron.com's food reporter Erica Cheng for our food roundup. We start with how local restaurants are preparing for immigration policy changes that will impact their workers. Then I drop a take so hot regarding one of the best cookies in H-Town that it left Erica speechless. And we're getting you ready for Lunar New Year with restaurant recommendations. Let's talk some food. It's Thursday, January 23rd. I'm Raheel Ramzanli, and here's what Houston's talking about. Erica, what's up? How are you? Good morning.
It's been a crazy week, Raheel, not just for restaurants, but for weather and everything else. And I can't believe we're here on Thursday.
I know. What a week. The snowstorm, the ice, and all that good stuff. It was fun for a while, but yeah, I'm glad that we're slowly but surely getting back to normal. How was it for you?
I'm tired of snow. I'm a Houston girl, but I lived in Boston for a while, and I go up to Canada quite a bit to visit family. And, you know, when I see snow, I'm totally over it. It feels so bad. The child in me has died. The Polar Express is gone. I don't know, man. The bell isn't ringing.
Man, which snowstorm hurt you, Erica?
All of them. It's cold. It's so cold. And, like, I did not want that in Houston, but it's beautiful, and I'm happy for everybody else that is. Let me just clarify that point.
Nonetheless, we made it. So as we always do in our food shows together, Erica, I'm putting you on the spot. First things first, what's the best thing you've eaten this month?
Okay. So this one it's been a short month. It's also been a long month. I think that the favorite thing that I've eaten this month is March. I went to March, which is one of Houston's first Michelin-starred restaurants, and it was amazing. I don't think I knew that food could taste like that. That's just me. I mean, I was so inspired by the creativity that Chef Felipe put into his meal. There was a salad course, which was crazy. I did not know the vegetables could taste that good.
What made them so good?
Flavors, I have no clue. I am such a heathen when it comes to this, but I'm like, yeah, delicious. It was so, everything was like vibrant, and the dish never got boring, and everything was beautiful, and the whole experience was just like spot on. Like, you go in, they make you sit down in a cocktail lounge for a little bit, you chill out, and you have a little drink, you act like you're a grown up. You get bar snacks. I mean, you had to dress nice to eat at this restaurant. I was pleased. It was an experience that was really different from my usual, taco cart fuss spot, but I was really pleased to be there.
Now, at March, is it just a chef's tasting menu, or do you order? Like, how does that work? Because I've never been, and it looks fantastic. So tell me.
Okay, so it's a tasting menu, which this is not something you go to every week. You go for special occasions, or if you really got that, tax return, go there, whatever. But it was something that I've done for the first time, a tasting menu. Because, like you, Raheel, me and you, we know we're about the mom and pops and the casual eating. Sometimes it's nice to get dressed up and go outside. And, that's what happened with this tasting menu. They have a 6 or 9 course, and you can choose.
Definitely going to hit that up. I went to Roca Accor, which, by the way, just shut down randomly. It was one of the premier sushi / steak joints in all of Houston. It just shut down, and we did a tasting menu there, and it was unbelievable. But I want to stay on March real quickly. What was the best thing you ate from that tasting menu? Of all the courses you had, tell me what it was.
Okay. So here's the other thing about this meal. It takes so long, and I loved it. It was so immersive because the wait staff, they come by, they tell you the story behind the dish. And the one that I absolutely loved was this like stew that has like bell peppers and seafood in it. And this time they had some pickled clams and crab legs and stuff. But that stew, they turned it into a custard.
Ooh.
And it was so fancy. I was so pleased. I was like, wow. I cried a little bit when it was done because I was like,
wow.
This was beautiful. I just sat there silently, meditatively.
So totally worth it.
To me, yes.
Okay. I'm so down. I'm so down to maybe I can just expense it to CityCast Houston, right? And just say, hey, look, it's for work. Come on. I gotta
Yeah.
go.
It's research. Hey, you and
Yeah,
me,
it's
man.
research. Erica told me I have to go hit this place up. So I'm definitely going to do that. Erica, Lunar New Year is starting next week on the 29th, and we want to celebrate. So I am coming to you for some excellent recommendations. Where should we go eat? Where should we go celebrate for Lunar New Year? First of all, tell me, what is Lunar New Year, first and foremost?
Okay. So there is a thing where a lot of people around the world base their calendars off the moon's phases. Honestly, low-key genius. And so as someone who has no idea really how the calendar works except for looking at the moon, I think it's super interesting. So the first day of Lunar New Year is January 29th. And, as someone who grew up celebrating it, I'm Chinese, the big thing to do is eat, right? And I think
Oh, yeah.
and I think it is one of the best things to do is to go into Asia Town and just pick a restaurant. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I have been just chowing down in Katy, Asia Town. I have just been all over this. And I think one of the new things that we should reintroduce too is highlighting these Vietnamese restaurants and these Korean restaurants that are doing the same thing. So I know a lot of people associate Lunar New Year with Chinese New Year, which
Hmm.
is not inaccurate, but also isn't as inclusive. So, for Lunar New Year, I'm going to suggest 3 restaurants for you. 1 Chinese, 1 Vietnamese, 1 Korean.
Let's do it.
For Korean, I need y'all to go to Seoul Garden in Longpong. Seoul,
Ooh.
Seoul. Okay. It is one of the longest lasting Korean restaurants in Houston, one of the OGs. I think it started in the 90s. I'm always there. If you see me and you recognize me, say hi. If I'm drinking soup, I'm sorry, my bad.
What's the best thing to order there?
Oh, okay. They have these things called hot pots, okay? And they're not like the typical hot pot that we think. There's a camp stove, there's a big old soup. It comes with a whole octopus in it. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, there's like a seafood hot pot, and that is my favorite one. It's a ton of soup. There are a ton of, oh my gosh, not like escargot, but like sea snails in it. I don't know. It's great. There's vegetables. There's a lot in there. It's great for the cold weather. I think everybody should go to Seoul Garden. And if you're getting married and you're Korean, that's where people go. They have a banquet hall. And if somebody is Korean and getting married, please invite me. I want to eat.
Nice. What's the next one?
Okay, my next one, I think everybody should kind of go here especially for big occasions like Lunar New Year. Kim San.
OG. You got to go there.
OG, Kim San. And I think too in the parking lot, if you go to the one on Bel Air, the huge one, typically in the morning, I think they do like a lion dance too. So if you're just chilling out in Asia Town, go see some lion dances, go eat some good meals. That Vietnamese buffet up in Kim San is one of my favorite things about Houston. I love it so much. I love it so much. One of my favorites. And for Chinese food, I'm really looking forward to this. I think I'm about to place an order for it. But all the way out in Katy, Hong Kong Food Street, they have this specialty dish that is coming out for Lunar New Year specifically. In Cantonese, it's called Pun Choi, which is basically, I think the translation is kind of like a village dish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a giant communal pot filled with a lot of meat, a lot of vegetables. If you're into seafood, there's like abalone in it. I love abalone. And they also have a lot of set menus that I think are great for eating for Lunar New Year.
Whoa. So how does that work? You just pull up to the restaurant and you pay something and then like everyone's just eating from this communal dish?
Yes, but it's the people that you invited with you. It's not like
Okay.
everybody in the restaurant is eating from this big thing.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was just like in the middle of the restaurant, there's this huge dish and we're all just going ham.
No, we can't do that after COVID, man. I'm so sorry. You can't eat at everybody's house. Oh man. But that's what I'm looking forward to in this upcoming year. I think you should round it out with a bunch of desserts too, but that's just me. I mean, I'm always down for a dessert.
Give me one good dessert spot to try.
Okay. If you're in Chinatown, you have to go to Egg Tart King, which is called ECK Bakery. In Chinese, it's called Dan Tat Wang, which means the king of egg tarts. And it's so good. It's an unassuming place tucked away in a corner next to Nam Giao, the really popular Vietnamese spot that just got Michelin award. So, hey, go there too. Why not?
I love it. I love it. Those are some good eats. And We're going to be celebrating here on CityCast Houston as well. There's going to be a lot of things going around the city. I can't wait to attend a few myself. I know the Post Houston is doing a really cool all-day event on January 26th from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. They're going to have free yoga, which sign me up because I'm on a yoga streak right now. All right, 3 weeks in a row. What's up? That's right. Get my body right, stretching out. And they're also going to have an Asian pop-up market, lion dances with Soaring Phoenix, which is one of the marquee dance companies here for lion dances. Everyone's doing something, so just Google it as well. Look for Lunar New Year celebrations near me, and you'll find so many ways to interact and celebrate with our community, right? Like this is a part of Houston, so definitely go out and celebrate.
Also, hot tip for y'all. Back in my day, if you camped out next to any kind of grocery store, like Hong Kong Market or oh my gosh.
99
Mostly
Ranch.
Hong Kong, right? 99 Ranch. Yeah. A lot of them do lion dances early in the morning.
Yeah.
So, or in the afternoon, they're scheduled. So that's what I did when I was a kid.
Erica, I am part of the community. Okay. You don't know, I pull up to these lion dances and I'm looking for all the aunties and uncles who have the red envelopes. I'm trying to get me a $10 bill. All right.
Hey.
Sometimes they give you the $2 bill. What's up?
Hey, you're too old for that. You're supposed to be passing out the envelopes. You're married. You're a grown man. Let the single people get the red envelopes, my guy. If you part of the community, you would know that. Let's go.
Life and Death on the Border 1910 to 1920 is now on view at Holocaust Museum Houston from January 24th to May 25th. This groundbreaking exhibition is produced by the Bullock Texas State History Museum in collaboration with Refusing to Forget, and it explores a decade of hardship, conflict, and state-sanctioned violence along the Texas border that threatened to destroy a community. But this decade also led to a cultural renaissance along the border and beyond, and it inspired the Mexican-American Civil Rights Movement. Life and Death on the Border 1910 to 1920 will be on view in Holocaust Museum Houston's Joseph and Edith Mintzberg Gallery, January 24th through May 25th. Admission is always free for ages 18 and under and college students with a valid school ID, and it's also free to everyone Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more at hmh.org/lifeanddeath. Look, there's no place like Texas, except when it comes to skiing or my personal favorite, snowboarding. And I get it, you're heading to snowier pastures, but before you leave Texas, grab one last taste of the real Texas in Amarillo. If you love a good Texas road trip like me, then Amarillo needs to be on the top of your list because it's quirky, wild, western, and a spontaneous city. I mean, where else can you spray paint a Cadillac, cruise down Route 66, and even find that perfect cowboy or cowgirl hat for rodeo season? Here's a pro tip for me. If you're driving to a ski destination, make sure you stop at Palo Duro Canyon right outside of Amarillo and hike in the second largest canyon in the U.S. Heck, I think you should stop on the way back as well because of how amazing it is. After that hike, be sure to carb load on some Tex-Mex and then pop into a speakeasy in Amarillo and grab a well-deserved drink. The mountains may be calling, but Amarillo will make you proud to call Texas home. Start planning your trip to Amarillo at visitamarillo.com and après ski into the real Texas.
Do you plan your vacations based on whether you can speak the local language? With Babbel, language no longer has to be the barrier. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I went to Mexico City a couple of years ago with my girlfriend, who's a native Spanish speaker, so I just let her do all the talking, like all of it. I adored the city, and now I'm going to go back in a couple of months, but with my college roommates, who are a bunch of middle-aged men, none of us Spanish speakers. When I was younger, I might not have been bold enough to do that, but now I'm not anxious because Babbel has me covered. Thanks to Babbel, I know how to order a taxi, how to give directions, how to order in a restaurant, all the small and useful bits of language that make international travel easier. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts, get you to begin speaking your new language in 3 weeks or whatever pace you choose. And because conversing is the key to really understanding each other in a new language, Babbel is designed using practical, real-world conversations. especially the sort you need while traveling. Food, how to get places. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. So I hope I'll see you in Mexico in a couple of months. Or, as we say, espero verte en Mexico en un par de meses. So let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting CityCast listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You had a chance to speak with Victoria Elizondo, who is the chef and owner of Cochinita and Company. You know, she has been a James Beard nominee and has won so many other awards locally and nationally, and so much praise for what she's doing. And the reason you talked to her was about what's happening right now with our current administration, the Trump presidency, and their immigration policies. And we talked about how it's going to impact the city earlier this week, but you are actually speaking to restaurant owners and people who are working in the industry. What are they telling you specifically, Victoria?
So Chef Elizondo is a recipient of DACA, which was an executive order that former President Obama, put in 2012. And, you know, her story is just absolutely crazy. She came here when she was like 12 years old and, you know, she was undocumented. And then kind of like overnight, like magic, in 2012, Obama passes the DACA program and she becomes, you know, a DACA recipient or a dreamer, as they're known as. And this, you know, when I talked to her about it, she talked about how it sort of changed her life in a very mundane way. Like overnight, she could get a driver's license and a social security. She could work legally. And it was very mundane, but also very interesting. Like everything changes, but nothing changed.
Wow.
And she said through that, you know, she's still a DACA recipient. She's still a beneficiary. And she's a bit concerned about what's going on with the Trump administration. Especially, you know, the inauguration happened on Monday, and there's been a lot of talk about signing executive orders when it comes to, you know, mass deportations, even like increasing the number of ICE missions in Houston and sanctuary cities all around the U.S. So it's, you know, very concerning for her. And, you know, to go off on the story, it was a crazy experience to talk to her. She luckily went back to Mexico for the first time in 20 years in December. And she said she was, you know, visiting her grandparents, who her last living grandparent, who is 86 and like very sick. That's the first time she sees them in 20 years. And she wasn't sure if that could happen under a Trump administration.
Yeah, it's such a scary thought, right? Like now, so many people are just living under this fear of what's going to happen. Are there going to be raids? Are there going to be executive orders that change the way that I become a legal citizen or change the way that I stay in this country, right? And this restaurant industry, it is one of the bright spots for our city. It means so much to us. And it is one of the reasons that we get so much national praise and awards. And everyone's talking about Houston's food scene is one of the best in the nation. And it was also built by immigrants. It was also built by undocumented immigrants. And that's something that we have to talk about. That's something we have to say continuously because people just kind of want to sweep that under the rug. And all those people, all the benefits from those people could be impacted here because of the policies that could be passed or have already passed.
Yes. And you know, and during the same story, I spoke to Emmanuel Chavez, the Michelin-starred chef over at Tatemo. And, you know, he had such an interesting thing to say. He was like, you know, so much of the country relies on immigrant labor. If, you know, if all these people just leave or get deported or what have you overnight, then there's going to be a ripple effect that we can't, you know, physically see. He was saying, like, it's not just restaurant labor. It's, you know, farm labor, it's service labor, it's all these things. And the really crazy thing about this data is that specifically in Texas, we know from a 2023 report that unauthorized immigrants make up about like 8% of the state's workforce. However, there's not specific data on undocumented workers in the state's restaurant industry. It's not available. So, you know, we have no idea the scale of all this. It feels like a little bit of an open secret. Like, Everybody kind of knows, but there's no official data backing this up.
Yeah.
Right. And, I think about Houston and how diverse it is and how we have so many ethnic enclaves, right? We have like Asia Town. We have like Airline, which is largely Hispanic. We have the Houston Farmers Market. We have parts of Houston that are super Nigerian, right? And West African. And how will this work? I understand why they're very concerned. How does this work in a future where uncertainty is the norm?
Yeah, that's the one word that I think I'm going to take away from all of this is uncertainty. And unfortunately, that is the reality right now. So we will be keeping our eyes on this. And of course, you're going to be reporting on this as well. So I truly appreciate you, spending some time and talking about this because it is so important. Eric, I want to get to our next story. And this was a story that dominated so many of our shows. And that was the fall of Turkey Leg Hut. Well, for the first time in a long time, it seems like, Nakia Holmes, who was running Turkey Leg Hut and was one of the founders of Turkey Leg Hut with her husband, Lynn Price, did a tell-all with Essence Magazine, and she did not hold back about what happened with the Turkey Leg Hut and how they eventually led to closing the restaurant. What were some of the big takeaways for you?
I mean, she talks about their romantic relationship and how that, buds. She talks about Lynn Price's fraud conviction. I mean, this is seriously insane work. I don't think a lot of people knew about Turkey Leg Hut and how dramatic the backstory was, because when it first came on the scene, and I remember, I'm a youngin', but I remember when Turkey Leg Hut became a big thing. I'm not a youngin'. I'm almost 30. Anyway, besides the point. But like,
You're a youngin'.
But besides the point, we all watched this restaurant blow up and die. And I think it's crazy because it's only been open for less than 10 years. I mean, putting that into perspective is kind of crazy. We saw the dress code being implemented. We saw the lawsuits just hit them, regularly. They owed millions of dollars to their debtors and stuff, to US Foods specifically. And it was just nuts. I think one of the big takeaways from this was, more specifically, she talked about how he would make a decision. Her husband, Lynn Price, would make a decision. The decision would blow up and she was kind of left to clean his mess.
Oh, yeah. The big one being the dress code policy that you mentioned just a few minutes ago. That was one of my big takeaways, too, is like Lynn Price, one of the co-founders, and her husband at the time. And again, they're still going to divorce proceedings. So it gets kind of, in this gray area. They're not together anymore. He's doing his own venture, the Oyster Hut, right? He's doing that, right? So like there's a weird thing going on. But yeah, he would make these policies or make a decision and they would get negative press for it. And it was all on Nakia Holmes to clean it up. That dress code policy that you mentioned, that was regarded as a quote unquote anti-Black dress code policy, right? And like he frankly put in terms like, you cannot come wearing certain clothing because we just don't want y'all in here. That's what it was. That's why so many people on social media were so mad. It was a bleep storm for them. That was like one of the turning points where it went from Turkey Leg Hut is all about the community to Turkey Leg Hut now is kind of selling out.
Yeah, and this story is really interesting too, because one thing that I noticed about the rest of this Essence interview is that she doesn't really talk about what happened in the past few months leading up to the closure. She doesn't talk about the health department shutdown. She doesn't talk about, a lot of the fires. She doesn't talk about a lot of these things. And it's really interesting because, Lynn Price, he has Instagram, and he was commenting under the Essence Instagram page about it. And he said, I'm going to continue to work hard and let the negativity die. And I respect her. She's the mother of my children. And I think the kind of question here is like, should we be privy to their personal life?
Yeah.
At this point. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. I think everybody deserves privacy. Now that the restaurant is dead, what happens? And it's a really difficult line to tease out because so much of their marriage was a part of the restaurant.
Yeah, they were on the branding together, right? Like their caricatures were on the billboard. So, look, America loves drama. America loves couples drama, and we want to know everything that's happening. And when you are a public couple like they are, and they are, like there's no denying it. Unfortunately, if you are on the billboard and you are one of the most popular restaurants and were for a while, And if you're doing an interview, and of course, Lynn Price is posting on Instagram, like people are going to care. And you don't have to answer it, but it seems like she talked about in that interview that one of the big reasons that the restaurant really started to fail was because the marriage started to fail. So yeah, it's a really long interview. It's interesting. We've linked it in our show notes, so you can definitely read that. All right, Erica, let's end with check, please. This is your hottest Houston food take that has been bugging you. So this is your space to get it off of your chest. I have a really good one, but I want to hear yours first.
This is my big one for the year. Right now, maybe. I am not interested in eating in the Heights yet.
Ooh.
I'm
why?
so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of work to get there sometimes. And, I support local businesses and I do all this. But sometimes it's crazy over there and I love it. And it's when you live outside, it's not that walkable. You still got to drive there. And that's kind of a mess sometimes. But I will not go to the Heights until I'm like absolutely convinced that I need to go.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I was telling our executive producer, Laura Isensee, she loves the Heights. She's over there in that area. And my family and I went there over the Christmas break. And I never want to move to the city again. I lived in the city for a while. I don't like living in the city proper. I like my big suburban roads and space. But there was a moment where I was like, wow, I think I could live in the Heights. Like, we loved it. It was so much fun.
Really?
Now, you do have to drive, right? Like, if you don't have a house there, you do have to drive around. But it was more walkable for me than other parts of the city. But again, you have to get there. That's the big thing. I loved it. It was so much fun. But okay, you are not a fan of the Heights. And I'm glad you brought that up because my hot take is about the Heights, but not like really about eating there, but more about what's going to open there. So Tiny's Milk and Cookies, which is just known as Tiny's around here, everyone knows that, they're opening in the Heights. And Erica, I might get my Houston card revoked, but I think the cookie at Tiny's is just okay.
Boo!
I know, it's just okay. It's okay. Like, it's good.
No.
Man. Like, I know people swear by it, Erica. I know people are going to hate me for this one. My youngest sister, who lives in Atlanta, will come here and the first stop she makes is Tiny's. Like, she loves that cookie. I've
good.
had it. Okay. I never go out of my way to get a Tiny's cookie. If it's there, cool. I'm going to eat it. If somebody brings it, cool. I don't think it's like game changer. I'm sorry.
Okay, but that's the point. It's a classic because let me tell you something. Another hot take for y'all. I hate crumble cookie. I don't know why. It's just they're thick. I don't think that cookies need to be innovative flavors. I think they need to be the simple peanut butter, sugar, snickerdoodle, chocolate chip. That's me.
Fair.
I'm a traditionalist. I'm so sorry. I believe in innovation, just not with cookies.
Okay, that's totally fair. Like, I get it. Pudgy's cookies, awesome.
Delicious.
Game changer. Love Pudgy's, right? And they're thick, their flavor profile. It's simple, yet really game changing. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but for me, Tiny's, like, shout out to the Heights. You're getting Tiny's and you're going to have cookies there forever now. But to me, like, I'm not going out of my way for Tiny's. I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's
If you
fine.
don't agree with me, send me a message on Instagram at CityCast Houston or send a message with the contact info in our show notes. You can put it in all caps and say, Raheel, you're crazy. How do you not like Tiny's? It's all right.
That's
it's a cookie.
fine. That's okay. I love their cookies. I love their walk-up window. I love their story. I like one thing about me, I will devour a cookie. That's on me.
It's awesome. It's a great place. It's very cool and cute, but cookie. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
It's good. It's just a cookie.
Okay. That's fine. I'm banning you from all possible Lunar New Year activities. I have that authority today.
No.
I'm so sorry. You're banned.
I'm definitely not getting the red envelope now.
You are not. You're giving them. Once again, you should be giving them. But hey, man, whatever. You do you.
I'm gonna put Tiny's gift cards in there. Okay.
Real. We support local businesses.
We do love them. That's awesome, Erica. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, I'm happy to, and I'm so glad to be joining y'all this year.
That was Erica Cheng. You can read all of her work on Cron.com, and we've linked all of the places she recommended in our show notes. Before we go, send this episode to 3 of your foodie friends. Like, do it now. Seriously, hit the share button on your podcast app and text it to them and tell them you need to listen to this episode of CityCast Houston because they have some great restaurant recommendations. Also, if you're new here, Please subscribe to the podcast so you can get new episodes every weekday morning. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter, Hey Houston, which has more food recommendations and news impacting our city. Thanks. That will do it for today. I'm Raheel Ramzanli. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.
I should have gate kept that egg tart place. I'm so sorry.
No, you can't gatekeep here. Open
Yeah,
up
I
the
can't.
gates.
Everybody should not go to the Heights. I don't like it. I'm making my way over there. I would like to clarify that. I'm making my way over there. However, I don't enjoy it. It's the same thing.